Hi, and welcome to your Urban Connection. Remember, this is the channel that is often imitated but is never duplicated. This show was designed, and I'm going to tell you once again, to educate and inform you. And tonight's show is going to be one that I intend to be informative with you females in particular. This is the kind of show that I don't like doing, but I feel I have to do it. I have been uh, basically I had about a 20-year broadcast career. And, you know, during that span, I continued to do shows that on this very topic that I'm going to do tonight. And it seems no matter how many times I do it, it's never enough. And I'm going to do this show with hesitation, but I feel I have to do it. And what my show is about tonight is this young lady right here. And her name is Rachel Johnson. And many of you know the story in the last few days about the circumstances of Rachel Johnson. Rachel was reported as missing on Saturday, I believe it was September the 26th. Just a few days later, she was found in her own vehicle, the victim of a homicide that apparently and allegedly was conducted by a, I don't want to say that someone she was having a relationship with, but at least she was known to have had a relationship with a gentleman in the past. Now, she was found deceased in her vehicle at this alleged gentleman's home, and he was found at that home in the basement with an alleged self inflicted gunshot wound. Now, here's the part that I want to get through to you women, and I can never say this enough. And whatever I say is never enough to convince some of you females. And this lady was no kid. She was 43 years old. But she fell victim to a domestic homicide perpetrated by a man that she had been involved with. And I can't say for sure she was still involved, but there had to be some kind of connection for her to be in her car, and she was reported missing, and her car was missing, and she's found in her car at his home. Now, let me get to the point. I've been telling women for I don't know how long, much too long, that you females must learn and adhere to one single message that I am going to tell you, and it's one that I'm sure you've heard before, but you don't seem to listen. And that message that I'm going to deliver to you tonight is do not allow a man, your boyfriend, your husband, the man you're having an affair with, or whatever, do not allow a man to put his hands on you unless he's holding you, hugging you, caressing you, or something of that nature. Any other thing of physical characteristics that a man is perpetrating on your body from head to toe is unacceptable. Now, what you must do the very first time it happens, you have to make it known that your body's not a punching bag. Your body was not made to be physically assaulted because of some man's rage, anger, jealousy, or attempt to control you. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you females this, that some of you think that because a man slaps you around, beats you, jumps you, that he loves you. No, ma'am. That is not love. That is control. He is attempting to control you. And you are continually allowing him to do that. A man doesn't hurt someone he loves. He doesn't beat someone he loves. I don't care how angry he gets. I don't care how jealous he is. The man has no right to lay hands on your body. Not in that manner. What will it take for you women to get the message through your head? Don't keep saying the sex is so good. You can find that anywhere. Don't keep saying, well, I got kids or a kid by him. What good will that do if you find yourself in a situation such as Miss Johnson finds herself in? She's gone. The kids are here. And I don't know if this gentleman was the father or not, but where are your feelings now for your kids? They're gone. They won't see you anymore. You sacrificed your kids, and I don't know if this is true in her case, but a lot of you women sacrifice your kids for a man that you say loves you. No, you have to put a stop to it. And you have to mean it when you say, don't put your hands on me. And you have to have the willpower to walk away. Because if you don't, you're giving him the thought and the feeling that he can sweet talk you after beating your ass. He can sweet talk you back right into his arms. And many of you fall for it all too many times. And that is why we find way too many cases of instances just such as this. You've got to learn, women. You've got to learn. You know, I was told when I was probably 13 or 14, I was just courting. But I was told there's too many fish in the sea for me to get wild and crazy about one woman. No, ma'am, there's too many fish in the sea. And just like I found her, I can find another one. Just like you found him, you can find another one. But first, you've got to be able and willing to walk away from that one because that is the wrong one. And when you finally realize that, it might be too late. And I keep doing these shows, but you know, one of the things that I really feel bad about this woman, I'm talking about Miss Rachel Johnson. I don't know her personally, but from everything I've been able to ascertain, she was a woman that was full of love. She was an educated woman. She was a professional woman. She was an entrepreneur. And from what I can understand, she had a successful business as a therapist, as a drug addiction counselor, okay, as a mental health counselor. She wore several hats, all in the name of love and the name of wanting to be of benefit to her fellow people who suffered from conditions that oftentimes will lead them to acts that are violent, okay? And yet she was involved at some point with a man who suffered from the very same symptoms that her patients that she cared for did. And it led to her death. Now, let me just say, I don't know how she died. I don't know where she died, because for me, I'm not an investigator, but I don't believe she died at that residence where she was found in her car. I don't believe that. Now, I don't know where in the car she was found, but it doesn't make any difference. If she was in the driver's seat, if she was in the passenger seat, or if she was in the back seat, I don't believe that her death happened and occurred at that house where her body was found and where the perpetrator, alleged perpetrator, was found in the basement with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Okay? This is what they call a murder-suicide. So where was she murdered at? I guess the police will be able to find that out. I hope we'll find out information. How did she die? Was she stabbed to death? Was she shot to death? Was she strangled to death? How did she die? These are questions that right now are unanswered. And be able to form a complete picture of what happened, I need to know some answers. We don't have them. But the one thing we do know is she will never see her kids again. She will never see her family again. Okay? And it did not have to happen. And a woman in her position, certainly, I would have one hell of a time believing that she brought this upon herself. And it's possible, but I'm just saying that all too many times, all too often, when these kinds of things happen, when there's domestic violence, when there's violence between two people that know each other and have relationships together, ladies and gentlemen, most of those could be avoided if you women would just take heed. Look, let me ask you a question. Did not your mother ever tell you not to let a man put his hands on you? Did not your father ever instill that in you, not to let a man put his hands on you? Did not your brother, your sister, your cousin, your aunt, friends that maybe have been through this, maybe not to the fatal extent, but have been involved in situations where they were physically assaulted, beat up, whatever, by somebody they thought loved them? Were you not ever warned, or do you just not listen? Or do you think that you can make excuses for him? Were you not ever told that you cannot change a man, no matter how hard you try, no matter how much you might love him? That doesn't mean he's going to reciprocate. But I guarantee you, if you allow him to put his hands on you more than once, it's going to continue happening. Okay? It's going to continue happening because he can sweet talk you, tell you, baby, I love you. Oh, I won't do that again. Just let me come back. Just take me back. And you give in. No, you have to put your foot down. And you say, I've given you chance or chances, but enough is enough. And the last episode with you was enough. I'm through. I'm out of here for good. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. You women, there's shelters all around. There are people that want to help you, but you have to avail yourself to them. If you have strong feelings for this man, you've got to recognize, maybe I do have strong feelings, but this is not the right man for me. This man doesn't really care for me. And then the worst of that is to have a man putting his hands on you, if you have children, doing it in front of your children. No self-respecting female, I don't care how old you are, if you're 18, if you're 28, if you're 38, if you're 58, is going to let a man do that and put you in that kind of a situation, and you continue to be with him because it's just a matter of time before it happens again. All right, I've seen this picture too many times. I've done shows like this too many times, and it bothers me when I see it. You look at this picture of this woman. This is a beautiful young woman, a very smart, intelligent, educated woman, a woman who had a very successful practice, had her own business, had a practice. She had a master's degree in addiction corrections, okay? Mental health, drug addictions. She dealt with all of that, okay? Now, here's the big problem. First of all, there's not enough of us, and when I say us, I'm talking about African Americans, that are in this profession, that have the abilities to do what this woman was doing. And you have to wonder, a woman who deals with mental health issues, anger management, drug addiction, alcohol addiction on a daily basis, how in the hell does she allow herself to get caught up in one of these kinds of situations? It's strange. It's strange. I don't know the answers. The only thing I know is you are not following your right mind. You are not listening to advice that's being given to you. And I'm sure, if not your sisters, your brothers, your mother, friends that you know and that have experienced, not to the extent, but have experienced beatings, physical assaults from men that think they love them. And they want you to think they love, but no, that's not love. When will you learn that is nothing more than an attempt to control you? And some men feel when they can't control you, they don't want anybody else to have you. And then when it reaches that point, just what happened here oftentimes is the end result. But it could have been prevented. I don't know how her car was seen uh, uh, early in the morning, somewhere around Lincoln and Webb Road or somewhere around there. I don't know if she was driving, he was driving, or who was driving. But apparently, since it was her car, and her car and herself were reported missing on Saturday evening, I have to assume that he went to her house and picked her up. And they left her house in her car. And the car ends up at his house with her dead in the car, and he's dead in the basement of his house. Unfortunate. I feel pity for her. I feel shame for her, and I feel sorry for him. And I feel very sorry for her children who will have to go on through life without her. I feel very sorry and offer my condolences to her family members who I'm sure are just decimated by this unexpected, senseless, useless death of this woman by somebody she knew. It was not a stranger. It was not somebody walking in the park. It was somebody she knew, somebody she felt comfortable with, somebody I assume she felt safe with, even though she had to know that this man had some problems. I'm sure this wasn't the first time that she's encountered a domestic violence situation with this fellow. But it's the last time, and it's very, very unfortunate. And like I said, I don't like doing these kinds of shows. I don't like to see this kind of thing happen, but it happens on a daily basis. Women show up at hospitals, they show up at clinics, they show up at homes, sheltered homes with black eyes, broken noses, broken teeth, knocked out teeth, battered face, battered bodies, because they simply refuse to believe that this is not love. They just can't get it through their heads that no, this is about control. It always has been and always will be. So, ladies, I want you to take heed to this message. Don't believe that this is the only man in the world that can make you feel as though he loves you, because this is not real love. And I don't care how many times he tells you that, he's showing you just the opposite. Take heed, wake up, smell the coffee before you smell the roses, okay? I hope, and I know that this is asking too much, but I hope this is the last time I ever have to do one of these shows. This woman is, this woman right here, like I said, is a beautiful woman, a talented woman, an educated woman, and like I said, everything that I've been able to find and ascertain shows that she is a loving woman. All right. And so that's what I want you all to understand. And I just want to show you one more picture of her. But that's what I want you all to understand. This woman, I feel sympathy for her. And it's just very unfortunate. But you women, I want you all to take a look at this last picture. And you got to understand that this woman, you have to understand this is a beautiful woman, and I'm sure she's just as beautiful on the inside as she is on the outside. Okay? She wanted to fill this world with love for a lot of people who are not shown love. She went into a field where very few of us in particular engage in. But that's the kind of woman she was. And I hate to use the past term was. I'd like to be able to say she is a loving woman of color. But let me just leave you with this. Who will be the next woman will suffer the same fate as Rachel Johnson did? Because you refuse to listen and you refuse to believe that this is the way life is supposed to be. No, it is not. Wake up. Okay? Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.
Nobody smile. Thank you. Congratulations, Cynthia. Introduce